How's everybody doing? I need to do an oil change on my truck here. This is a Ram 2500. This is a 2021 6.4 Hemi. I assume all 6.4s are like this. I didn't want to just do an oil change video. It's not really like premium content here, but so I figured I would do my top 3 tips or tricks or hacks when you do an oil change. Might be fun. And I'll throw in some other ones that you might know, you probably know. But these are my top 3 that I think that maybe you don't know. What am I using here? Mobil 1. Filter M1 113A, and this 0W40. I guess now on these heavy-duty trucks they're using 0W40. Did they always use that stuff? It says here European car formula. I called the dealer and they said yes, it's going to say that on there, but you can use it 0W40. I guess Mobil 1 and other brands too put that European car formula on there. I guess the only thing that uses 0W40 is European cars and Ram 2500s. So let's get started. The first tip is going to be down at the drain plug. So let's get over there. The first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to crack it loose. Just break it loose. This is a ½ inch. 13 is just that. It doesn't fit perfect. So what am I doing here? So we're just going to, oh, that was extremely loose. Holy moly, I barely even touched it. So here's where the tips start, essentially. The big tip is a little bit, but the first thing obviously is that you got to make sure you catch this oil. It's going to come out at an angle. Now on most cars, all you do is you align the drain plug with the back of the basin and you center it this way. So now it's going to catch the angle, and you can leave it down there, and then once it's, it's going to slowly go back, and then it's going to drip straight down, and you're going to catch that. On a truck like this, if you do that, it's probably going to shoot over. I mean, there's a real good chance. I'm looking at it now, and it might not shoot over, but do we really want to take a chance on that? So what are you going to do? Well, let's take the tires off and lower the truck. No, we're going to pick the basin up. That's all you're going to do. You're going to get yourself a bucket. Excuse the noise. Hey, look at that. So, a little bit easier now, right? You pick the basin up. It's that simple. You don't need one of those crazy adjustable ones. And in reality, those crazy adjustable tall ones are usually for when a truck is on or a vehicle's on a rack, because they start out really high. Just get yourself a bucket or a cardboard box or something. This is just a galvanized bucket. And you're set up now, totally, completely. Okay, for the purposes of this video, I have that bucket moved out of the way. I'm actually going to have to hold this basin by hand. It's out of the picture right now, obviously. And I'm also going to have to take this drain plug out with my left hand when normally I would take it out with my right. So here is one of my top 3 tips. When you're taking out this plug, to avoid oil going everywhere, you take it out by hand, and every single turn you do, you're pushing in. Every single time I'm turning, I'm pushing. I'm always pushing on this. Why? Because I'm trying to keep the oil in. And at some point in time, there's not going to be any threads left, and you're going to see the oil drip. Now it's going to drip straight down because it's obviously not going to shoot out because you're holding the bolt. You're holding the plug. But that's when you know that there's no more threads left, is that once it starts coming out a little bit, even with, this is 7 quarts of oil, you'll be able to hold it in, and you're really only going to see like a little bit of a drizzle. You see it's coming out now. And you're also going to feel it wiggle a little bit. Now, I believe, I'm going to give it couple more turns. Yes, this drain plug is out right now. It's totally out. But I'm holding all the oil in. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to pull this drain plug out and lift it away from the hole, but straight up towards the pan to get my hand out of the way. So essentially what I'm doing is that I don't want oil to go on me. I don't want my oil to go on my hand. So here, let's see, are you in? Man, this is difficult to do. This should I do for YouTube over here. So here we go. Let's do it. That's it. And I caught it too, actually. So I caught it perfectly. So yeah, all I did was lift it up. Now let's look at my hand and see if I have any oil. I have 2 drops of oil on my fingers from, obviously, the plug being wet. You can see there's oil on the plug, but that's it. No oil anywhere else. That is my tip, is as you're turning this, push it in. Always push it in, always have pressure into the pan. And at some point in time, it's going to be very loose like this, and you're going to see drips coming out. And then you pull it out and straight up. And hang out here until you see it go straight down. I mean, this is it right here. So we're good. We can now leave this pan here, no problem, because it's going straight down. All right, let's do tip number 2. All right, there's the filter right there. I can come at it from the front. You have to probably come at it from the back. I have a steel bumper, so my access is pretty easy. And this is the trick. This is the tip. This is the hack, whatever you want to call it. 2-liter bottle with the bottom cut off. Now, what happens when you take off these filters is that there's oil is in there. When you take them off, it drips all over the freaking place. So there's 2 ways to use this 2-liter bottle idea. One is that you have a slot cut in the top for a tool like this right here. You see that? And then you slip this over, right? And you wrench it off. You keep the cap on the bottle, and it's going to catch the oil. Now, or you can do another method, which is you don't cut the slot in, and you take the cap off, right? And you put the extension through the hole, right? Like this, I'll show you. Like that. Now this method works good too. The problem is that obviously when the oil builds up in here, it could come out of this hole, which, you know, not terrible. What you're trying to do is get it away from all this crap. There's always crap right here. It all depends on your certain situation, but you can make this bottle work however you want it. In this particular case, I'm going to use the slot method because I want to keep the cap on and I want to catch it. So let's set it up and I will show you. Then you can take this tool out and keep the bottle there. And then you drop it right into the 2-liter bottle. And I'm just holding it here to make sure any oil goes into it. And that's it. And if you want, you can put a rag underneath here to catch anything. Putting the filter in, everybody always says put a little bit of oil in it so that the car doesn't run on no oil at some point. I guess that can happen. And also put a little oil on the rubber seal. So my last couple of tips are for underneath the hood. First one is, if you don't know, you can use a quart of oil as a funnel. All you got to do is cut the bottom off of it, and it's adjustable too. You can cut closer to the mouth or further away from the mouth. These came in very handy when my wife owned a Subaru. Now, if you don't know, a Subaru burns about as much oil as it does gas. It's ridiculous. And what I would do is I just made a little kit for her, and she just kept it in her car. It was a quart of oil. It was a quart of oil cut off, right, for a funnel, a couple of paper towels, and that's it. I told her if that light ever goes on, you just pull over, pour the oil in. She's done it many times. She's probably done it 4 or 5 times. And then all you got to do is put everything back in the Ziploc bag and throw it out. You just throw everything out. You can wipe your hands clean and you just toss it in the garbage. And it was really easy. She didn't have to keep a dirty funnel in the car all the time. Worked out perfectly. So that's a really good tip. If you buy quarts of oil, sometimes, like this truck takes 7 quarts. Sometimes people get the 5 and a 2. Now I got 2 5s. Why? Because then I can just buy another 5 on the next time, and I still, I'll have enough left over. I'll have 3 left over, and then I can do it. Then I'll have 1. Then I'll need to buy 1 quart, obviously. So At some point in time, I'm going to get another quart of oil. It's just keep them around. Keep the empty ones around. The five quarts are obviously good for the old oil, but keep the 1 quart around because it's really good as like an emergency funnel. Throw it in your truck. It's just good. The next tip I got is with this rag right here. You want to cut a hole in the center of this rag. Whatever rag you use, all your rags should have a hole cut in it like this. And then you put the opening where you pour the oil, you put that through the hole. Now, you know how it is when you stuff those rags around the opening of the end, the oil pour part. It never gets everything. And you put the funnel in, and sometimes you're not paying attention. I'm not pouring that fast. Next thing you know, poof, it spills over. That's happened to me before. It's also when the seal is real good and you don't have airflow, then it can build up enough where it goes around. It goes around the funnel on the bottom and spills out the side, out of the mouth of the fill. Those rags stuffed around the edges, it's going to find an opening and it's going to go all over the place. I'm telling you, cut a hole in all your big rags like this. And then a small little hole, and then it will catch all the oil, no problem. I hope one of those tips helped you out. The 2-liter bottle one, I mean, does anybody do that? I haven't seen anybody do it. That's... in this particular case with this truck, if you have a horizontal, like this has a horizontal filter, this is the worst, man. The worst. You crack that open, there's no way to save it. The oil's going to go everywhere. You're going to get like a half a quart of oil everywhere. If I didn't have that 2-liter bottle, you saw how much oil was in that 2-liter bottle. That would have went everywhere. And you know what happens too. You think it's just going to drop straight down? It never drops straight down. It hits something, it runs on an angle, and next thing you know, you're just sitting there, and all of a sudden you see oil dripping into your rotor. On the other side, you're like, what's the oil doing over there? Because it hit something, it went in, it traveled. It happens all the time. You put that 2-liter bottle in, it catches basically everything. I had one little tiny drizzle come out. One tiny little drizzle, and that just landed on a rag that was on the ground. And that's it. That's it. So, well, again, I hope at least one of them helped you. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you.